I love it.
Guys, so we'll get started. Big thank you for everyone who's come to Feel Good Friday with Wella Waves. Oh, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Ludmilla. I'm the Creative Manager for Australia and New Zealand. And today we've actually got an incredible opportunity to interview Artistic Director for ANZ and Sebastian Global Artist, Mr. Brad Lepper, French Revolver, all the way from New Zealand. So hi, Brad.
Hey guys, how you going? I'm really excited about being with you guys today to share what I've been through and what we're doing with Wella Waves and together stronger. So it's going to be really cool.
It's so exciting and we're so grateful to have you, Brad. So let's get the questions started. Tell me something that you've been doing or things that you've been doing since lockdown, because I know you guys are at stage 4, New Zealand.
Yeah, so we're fully locked down now. So for the last week, 7 days. And I want to be honest with you guys too, because I'm a salon owner, I'm a hairdresser, and I want to sort of like go reflect on what we had to go through emotionally, which you guys are going through now, I'm sure, about your salon and the future and the massive highs and the massive lows of what you're thinking. So for us, we were like, well, what's going to happen with our salon? What's going to happen with our staff? What's going to happen to the business was our biggest things. And we started thinking, would we have to go into liquidation? Would we lose our house? All that sort of stuff came into our brain. And I'm sure that's going through Australia at the moment, where people are at like their wits' end trying to think of emotionally how they get through that. And I think for us, we had to sort of really sort of pull back and start thinking of why we started our business. And when we started our business, what did we have? We had nothing. So I think really sort of just trying to think about your staff is the first thing that we did. We wanted to make sure that they were supported through the whole step and how we could sort of keep them motivated through the last few weeks, and talk about what they were going through and how we could help them through that stage as well was a big thing for us, which helped everybody in the whole situation.
So a question from that is how have the teams been coping and what has been their daily routine since lockdown?
Oh, I think it was being open. Like we'd have a chat most days, saying like how they feel and what we can sort of do to sort of get them through that last week was the biggest thing.
Yeah.
And then being really clear about what we were doing as a company to support them was a really big thing too. As well as what we're looking at planning to get back into business. Because you have got lockdown for a month for us at this stage,
Yeah.
but that could go longer. So we've got to sort of like step by step, week by week, day by day, figure out what the next step is. The main thing for us is to get the engagement of the clients and making sure they know that we're still here. I mean, with a client, as you know, as a hairdresser, they're more of a friend than a client. Like you go through their weddings, you go through their first child, you go through their parents' deaths. So there's so many things you're connecting with these guys with a daily or a weekly or a monthly, that you need to sort of keep that connection with them. So that's our main thing. And with the guys, all I asked them to do was go on Instagram and do some silly stuff. Like in this time that we're in now, we don't need anything too serious. So we need sort of stuff that's going to feel great. You know, you're going to, like TikTok's a great example for that, or Instagram stories are awesome for that. Like, so I think in this time, we've got to really sort of think about empowering us as a group,
Yeah.
and sort of making people feel great is the biggest thing. And that's our job. That's our job.
Oh,
So.
I get it. I agree. One of your staff just wrote on the post that he works with you and you're an absolute legend. So
Yeah, it's nice.
great. It was really sweet. That's why I was smiling. So what advice can you give the hairdressing world today? Like, what have you been doing mentally through all of this? Because you're so it's your to listen to.
Right. I mean, the thing is that we've been busy. Like, my wife and I work on the business in the background, and like we've been working the last 7 days solid, like probably 6 to 10 hour days. And the things we're doing are stuff we always wanted to do, which is really cool. So we're going onto our website, we're restructuring that, we're thinking about marketing strategies, we're thinking about how we can sort of make our business better. Because I'm not sure about you, but when you're in the salon and you are working on clients and you're taking care of your staff, the only time you have to work on your business is at night time. So you finish work at 8 or 9, you go home, and you've got maybe 2 hours before you go to bed, and you knock out emails, you knock out marketing, you're doing all that sort of stuff as well. So I think for us, we've been able to sort of go, right, what do we want to do? Like, what do we want French Revolver to be? We've been in business for 8 years now, and we haven't had the time to sort of reflect on it. So I think personally, it's been a reflection time for us. Personally, I've always wanted to do online content, so that stuff is going to start next week. And I think it's really about engaging with what you wanted to do when you started your business and how you can keep on pushing that further for us.
That's incredible.
Hopefully that sort of makes sense, yeah.
I think the thing, and we've spoken about this before, it's almost like it's stopped us to reflect, to actually go, hey, hold on, what do I keep stopping or pushing back? And finally, I've got to take a minute to actually go, okay, well, now I have the time to focus on this. And I think it's you guys have been saying that to me and that mindset, and it's just amazing to hear. I think the industry is going to come out so much stronger after this because we've had time to actually stop. It's been insane, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel for that. So I guess, when I talk to you, I know how positive and motivated you are. What are some things that you do to stay motivated?
Oh, I think there's a lot of things. Like, I've always sort of thought that I'm not French Revolver, and the people in French Revolver are French Revolver. So I've never seen myself as a salon owner. And so when people say Brad owns French Revolver, I never sort of connect that to me. So I think that's the first thing, like not thinking about yourself too much. And I mean, I've got awesome people around me that sort of keep me going as well. And I think it's really about trying to think of others more than yourself. And that keeps you positive. Like I asked my son today, I said to him, Rocco, what's the center of the universe? And he said, it's a black hole. And I was like, that's right. So if you think too much of yourself, it's a black hole. So I think that's where positivity comes from. Try not to think too much of where you are, but what everything else is doing is a better thought pattern.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Nice, Brad. I love it. So we touched on it before, and at the end, guys, we're going to have some time and go through a few questions. I've got my team in another area, obviously, because we're in isolation, writing down all the questions that we're going to go through. So what tools do you think have been the most influential in the current situation, and why?
You mean what tools, as in online content, or?
Yeah, like what are you loving? What are you seeing? What do you think's helping you a lot more, and doing things that you probably didn't do that much before?
Yeah. Okay, so I think a full reflection on yourself is a big thing. So you first got to understand where you are, who you are as a personal brand, and grow off that. So I think it's been like tools has been self-development tools. Yeah. Has been my thing. I love Simon Sinek. I think he's an amazing person. He's got some great thought patterns. Now, you cannot adopt every thought pattern from someone else and put it on you. You've got to figure out what that thought pattern is going to be for you to make yourself better. So that's been a really good thing for me. Like, so just try and sort of go into Instagram, listening to what people are doing in UK, how they're feeling about their salons, being honest about your salon, being honest about who you are. And I think we never really have time to reflect on ourselves. So I think there's a great guy called Reto that's in South Africa. And he said, look, this is a rebirth time where we can all sit back and we can all start really sort of diving into who we are and who we want to be at the end of this. Now, it's going to be so easy for a lockdown for you to just sit there and watch like Netflix and do that, because you'll need that as well. But I think if you want to be stronger, you're going to have to start developing yourself a lot more. And there's so much stuff online now. There's so much stuff.
It is. It's insane. And I guess that's now more than ever, we've had to rely on all of our digital platforms. So Facebook, YouTube, IGTV. I think there's so much that we're seeing to stay motivated. And it's something, say, for Wella Professional, that's so important to us because we really want to stay connected. What are some tools that you think have been really interesting and fascinating, say, on digital platforms that you've seen a lot more of now versus, say, before lockdown?
I mean, I've always sort of done Hairbrained. I think Hairbrained is awesome. We've got all the cutting techniques, color techniques. And then I think, like, Joe Rogan's always been my go-to. So I always do, like, podcasts with him. I think, like, business development. As a hairdresser, we're all business owners. And I think that's one thing we should understand. You've got a clientele. You're building that clientele. You're making a revenue. You're under a brand, but you are a brand. So I think self-development in business is a great thing. I mean, you don't all want to be business owners. It's bloody hard. I mean, it's not an easy thing. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's, if you love people and you love people to achieve things, I think you should be a business owner. If you want to achieve money, I don't think you should be a business owner because it's about the people in your business. That's my personal opinion. So I think at this time, like, online platforms is great, but you've got to really sort of understand why you're doing those online platforms as well.
Oh, agreed. And I think that's just like getting all this advice from you guys and our wider director team. It's something that Wella Waves really wants to focus on because we really want to look at how can we engage, how can we support and protect our incredible industry. I would have to say it's the one industry that is so passionate and timeless, and it is a community. It's like your clients. So anything to keep them inspired and motivated, it's a huge thing. I think on a creative level, looking at what we do, and I know you've been playing around with it. Obviously, I have. Like, I think TikTok has come
TikTok's
out.
Fun.
It's insane.
TikTok's fun. Yeah, I love it. I really like TikTok. I mean, I think it's it's a little bit like hairdressers. Like, we're all quirky, aren't we? Like, we're not out of the same box, you know. And we've all got our own thing going on. And I think I spoke to you once before. I said, like, TikTok is the new Instagram, but it's not fake. It is, but it's not. Like, it's got like a quirky, funny moment where I find Instagram's very look at me, I'm so amazing sort of thing. So I think with TikTok, you can see the tongue-in-cheek, and it's a bit more real. And that's what I like. That's really what I like, yeah.
Great. We were just talking about it yesterday, like talking about, you know, Instagram, and we love Instagram, but you can create this perception where it's like it's real and raw and it's fascinating to watch. It's pretty in this time, and it makes you makes you come out of your comfort zone. So in this time, it's like something to bring into, you know, our creative community to almost push ourselves a little bit more. Personally, I know I'm coming out of dance retirement. If anyone's been there a little bit, we're going to hire
you next time. It'll be awesome. Backup dancers, get in.
Well, that's why I've got 10 or 15 people in the background. I'm like, I've got a whole entourage now going on.
I love it. But I think that's the thing, like, you know, life's not that serious, guys. Like, I mean, the thing is that we're going through a hard time now, but, yeah, it's one moment in time that will make you stronger. Like, you got to think about the outcome of what's going to happen. And as hairdressers, we're facilitators to make people feel great. And if you're in lockdown for a month or 2 months, you're going to want to feel great. And that's a fact, you know. So I think, like, going back to business and thinking about what we're doing, like French Robber-wise, we want to make people feel really great. And I think that's what we're focusing on, is that when they come out of this, how can we make sure that they've got the best service, that they understand what we do and what we can actually make them feel like, which is a big thing. And one of our staff members had a great comment. We had a meeting at the start of this week. We're just doing like team meetings once a week to sort of see how they're going. And he said, you know, the thing is, you don't want to touch them straight away. Like, you don't want to shake their hands. You don't want to give them a hug because you're going to have that distancing for a whole month. Like, I went for a run this morning. Everyone's dodging everyone. Like, no one wants to be next to each other. So when we go back into the salon, a thing to think about will be that social distancing thought pattern's still going to be there. So we're going to have to break through that and then make them feel great at the same time. So these are things we're thinking about behind the scenes of how we can actually make that implemented into the salon a lot easier.
Yeah. And I think that was a question that came through, what are you doing for the salon post COVID-19? And I think that's a big thing that you've touched on, is we're having to change that mindset, because we're just getting there in Australia. When you're going out if someone's coughing, you almost move back a little bit, or you're a little bit nervous to even walk somewhere. So I think that's probably the biggest thing of changing mindset and getting back into the, because our clients are like our family, like you guys are our family. That's why we say that's how you feel exactly with the people that are coming in. So a business related question that someone's come through with was, what do you do for the salon? Is there a process that you've got in place to generate revenue while you're on lockdown?
No, I mean, we are lucky we're getting a subsidy from the government, and that's helping out with that wage subsidy. Again, like going back to when the first week before we thought we were going to shut down and go into liquidation, or what are we going to do to sort of keep the staff alive, we had to sort of think about, safety in the clients first, of course, which is what you guys are going through, safety in our staff, which is the most important thing, and then really about sort of how we regrow the business was the third thing as well. We don't have a revenue on the other side. This is our business, so we're lucky that we've got government support on that side of it, but we have to sort of start thinking about how we can rebrand our brands to sort of make that stronger for when we go into the actual real world again, and that how we can sort of push that further. So I think, again, just going back to the same sort of fundamentals, think about why you got into business the first time. That's the first thing we've thought about. What we want to achieve when we first got into business, and what the actual outcome would be. And I think those three things will be like instrumental of what you can do to get through that. As well, before it even happened, we talked to our landlords, and we sort of said, hey, when we moved in, you gave us 3 months rent free to sort of set up our business. Would you look at giving us this discounted rate through this time? And went straight up, and we'd never missed a payment. We've always been ahead of payments. And so we're a good, a solid business to sort of think about. And then we went to all the suppliers and said the same thing. Hey guys, we're going to be in lockdown soon. What are you guys thinking about to help us out? And I think just sort of really just a business sense of thought pattern before it happens, put those steps in place. And that, as soon as we started getting feedback from like the product companies and landlords and power companies and everything else, we felt a bit lighter. Like we could think a bit clearer, and we could start thinking about what we could do in the lockdown. But before that, our mind was everywhere, which I'm sure you guys are right now.
That's true. Fantastic. That's a great advice that you've given, and the way you've structured your thought pattern in going through this, so you've almost pre-planned anything. So it's really, we're really appreciative to understand that, because it's slowly happening here now.
It is.
We've got another 10 minutes left, and I've actually got some questions that have come through. So let's have a look at these questions.
Let's go.
Everyone, I have to read off my other phone right now. Okay. How do you organise your daily routine during lockdown, Brad?
Okay, the first thing I do is I get up and go for a run. So it's the first thing I do. So today I did like a quick 8K, just like a nice little easy run. And it's a way to clear my head and just get me into the thought pattern of the day. Now, I think it's like a philosophy sort of thought pattern that I've got, because when I'm running, there's only 2 thought patterns I have. And that's oxygen and knees up. And the reason I say knees up is because gravity is going to pull me down. So I want to pull my knees up. And that's the thought pattern that I've got through the day. It's like oxygen up, knees up. And so I think then I start structuring my day as I'm running and start thinking about what I need to sort of really focus on. So meditation's great. Any exercise is good. But give yourself that morning to sort of start yourself up and then you'll make the day a lot easier. There is so much things to do, like when you're in lockdown, that you've got to sort of really just map it out. And as soon as I finish my run and I'm still puffed out, I'll sit there with a piece of paper and just write out my whole day.
Yeah.
So that's probably the best way to sort of start the day off.
But plan your day like a checklist.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you a little background. Like, I was the shyest kid in school. I never spoke to anybody, right? And I saw a mate of mine, like, after 10 years, and he said, I don't know how you jump on stage with 5,000 people and talk, because you never spoke at school.
Yeah.
And I said, well, okay, the best tip I had was to run and talk at the same time, because I thought if I could run and speak, then I could speak to anybody. So I think it's the same thought pattern about anything in life. If you can push yourself to a point where you are fully exhausted and still do what you do, then you'll get through that.
That's amazing. That's so good. It's really great to clear your head. Like, I'm a firm believer of that. I was just thinking to myself, does that mean we're going to run together when you come here?
You're going for a run.
I'm not at that point yet. Oh my God, that's amazing though. So our next question, Brad, what are the things that you love doing now that you normally haven't had the time to do?
I think just focusing on daily routine, as in my family. I've got 2 children. And I mean, as hairdressers, we don't really have time for our family. So that's one of the biggest things that I'm a workaholic. When I travel overseas, I travel with a mannequin head and a stand. Like, it's literally, there's always a mannequin head and a stand in my hotel room. So it's one of those things that I'm always doing. But I think being able to reflect on family time and just sort of being home has been great for the first week. But I am a little bit ADHD, so I can't sit still. So, you know, I've always been able to, like, I'm still jumping on hairstyles, trying to think of new creative things to do, and just keeping going. Like, it's been fun just getting stuff done. It's been really fun.
That's so good to hear. And I know, seeing like your stories on social, how much the kids are enjoying having you around. It's just beautiful. Really nice to see that on part of you and other artists and things. It's amazing how much we're getting to know each other more now, and we're actually not being able to see each other. It's pretty impressive. So our next question, what plans do you have in place for in-salon activities after the shutdown? So almost like, do you have a structure for the team? I know you've discussed that you have once a week meetings with any of the team. Is there anything else that you have in place? Yeah,
I mean, we organise our salon a lot differently. Like, I don't like leading meetings. I really hate meetings. Hates is a bad word, but I don't like them. But the thing is that I think, you're a team, and the only way a team's going to actually have structures if everyone can, like, say what's on their mind and how they can grow the business and have ownership of the business. So I think that's what we do a lot, is that we sort of go, guys, what do you want to work on? Like, what do you think that we should be sort of like focusing on? Is that retail? Is that like growing your cutting techniques? Is that better color application? What is things that we should be working on? And I think as a salon owner, I'm a true believer that we lead from behind, and that the leaders eat last, which is a Simon Sinek book. And it's about that we eat last. So the first people that eat is your staff, and the last person that eats is you. And I think in any business, if you have that thought pattern, it's going to be a lot easier to get through, because they can lead the charge and you can help them lead that charge. That's the way I think.
Like, seeing all of you guys together, it's an incredible dynamic. Like, they respect you, they love being around you, but there is just this almost just support from each other. There's no hierarchy system, and it's just amazing to see, and that's why people love being around you.
It's not, but the thing I think too is that ego comes from like an inadequacy of yourself. So ego is something that you are trying to hide something about yourself. But if you have no ego, you've got nothing to hide. So I personally think that, if you find someone that's sort of like, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, I'd love to meet that person, because I've never met someone that's that great. There's always something that's not quite there. So I think if you can be honest and say that you're just the same as anybody else, it makes life a lot easier.
It's true. So true.
Yeah.
You're the new Wella philosopher now. Wella ways. All right. So next question. What structural changes do you think this situation will create in the industry, and where do you see industry going in, say, 5 years' time?
You know what? I think I was just saying to my wife, it feels like I'm on Joe Rogan right now. Like, we've got a platform that we're talking to people are interacting. I personally, I think I spoke to you this yesterday, like, education should be like this, where, say we have a VIP room that if people want to sit with Brad Lepper and learn a cutting technique, I'm there. But then we have a digital platform that you can jump online and ask questions and actually open it up to the world. Like, we are fully disconnected now, but we are connected more than ever. And I think that's the thing that we're finding with the social media platform, with like Wella Waves and Stronger Together. Like, you've really got something that you can actually tap into and actually make the community stronger. And I think we should start really looking and see how we can sort of make that better.
Agreed. We're onto it. It's the start of something incredible.
You got something. I'll call you Joe Rogan Jr.
We'll run in front of the camera tomorrow, in front of the video, with my knees up.
Do some press-ups and get in.
I'll be looking really pretty then. All right. What advice do you give people who are actually afraid of using social media?
You know what? I think my wife will tell you, like, if she was here, I was pacing up and down before I got in. Like, I was like, well, this is freaking me out, because I'm used to interaction with lots of people and sort of engaging that way. But I think social media is just you. And if you got something to say, just say it. Like, there's no wrong way to do it. People like you for being you, and I think if you just believe in yourself and just say what you want to say, it's a lot easier.
True.
Yeah.
I love that. So next question. In this time, was there anything that you realised you wanted to change in your salon that you actually hadn't even noticed before?
Oh, there's so many things. I mean, we went through a whole budget of what we've been doing as well, which is a really interesting concept. As a owner-operator, you don't really have time to sort of sit back and actually understand what's going in, what's going out, what you're spending money on, and all that sort of jazz. That was the first thing. And then it was about client satisfaction and ease. Yeah. So, like, if you go on our website, what is that looking like to the client, and what's our online booking system looking like to them, and then what can we make it easier for them to sort of get onto our platform? Was a big thing. And then even content like this, like even just jumping online and just chatting to people and actually sort of engaging more with the industry was a big thing too. It's stuff I always wanted to do but never had time to, or always put a block to say that I couldn't do it. Yeah. So I think that was the biggest thing for me.
That's amazing. No, it's true. It is really true. So these are some, like, this is a non-hair related question, but this was from Josh from Tognini's. I saw it come up before. What was your favourite music to listen to when you go for a run?
Okay, so I put on, it's just a compilation on Spotify. It's Frank Ocean.
Yeah.
And it's just got a lot of hip-hop and dirty hip-hop, and then I've got Hip Hop Caviar, which is another Spotify playlist. So a lot of hip-hop. Quite dirty, grungy hip-hop's always good for me. Yeah, and so if I'm doing a half marathon or a marathon, it'll be the same sort of playlist. Yeah. So I'll just get myself into a dirty motion and just go for it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Josh, thanks, Josh. He said nice.
Thanks, Wella.
So perfect. Okay, so one last question. What is probably the statement or the biggest advice you can give our industry today?
Okay, I think just be honest with yourself. I think that's the biggest thing. Like, be honest of why you're here and what you want to do and who you are. Yeah. And I think once you've got those three things captured, then everything else is going to fall into line. As a global artist and someone that has to go on stage or loves to go on stage and educate, my first thought pattern when I'm on stage is what do they want to see, and never about what do I want to do. So I think it's the same thing about projecting yourself past yourself is a lot easier. Because education is not about the person on stage, it's about the people in the audience. And it's been a true belief for me to sort of think that sort of thought pattern. And I think if you're honest with yourself, then you can understand why you're there and why you're a hairdresser and why did you end up being a hairdresser and what do you love about that, and just keep that true. So when I started hairdressing, I really wanted to always think of Italian Vogue. That was my pinnacle. So always a cover of Italian Vogue and how could I make my look like that. And that's, I think having a driving force like that always helped me.
That's amazing. I thank you for that advice. So guys, we've actually come to an end for our Feel Good Friday. So we want to say a big thank you for everyone that's joined in today, and a huge thank you to Mr. Brad Lepper. We're so appreciative of everything you do and the advice you give, and just grateful that you're part of the Wella family. So a big thank you to you.
Well, much love to you, all you guys out there. And like I say, you're going to get through it. You're going to get stronger. And let's pump it out together. Be awesome.
We'll get there. We will get there.
We've got it.
Guys, thank you very much for today. We'll be back 9 a.m. Monday morning for more Wella Waves, and we're focusing on digital education. So big thank you. Thanks, Brad. Happy Friday.